Molly Qerim hosts one of ESPN's marquee shows, where every second is caught on camera, but every now and then, she forgets the world is watching. From mouthing WTF after an awkward on-air compliment to breaking into a spontaneous dance right in front of her co-hosts. These are 10 moments Molly Qerim forgot she was live on ESPN. Molly Qerim mouths WTF on First Take. The date was January 3, 2024, and First Take was rolling with its usual intensity, fiery debates, bold opinions, and the larger-than-life presence of Stephen A. Smith dominating the broadcast. That morning, the show followed its standard format, featuring a panel with analysts Dan Orlovsky and Mina Kimes. Alongside the regular hosts, Stephen A. Smith was deep into one of his trademark monologues on personal growth and evolution in the sports media world when he suddenly shifted the conversation in a surprising direction directly toward his co-host Molly Qerim.
Look at Molly, you know what I'm saying? Molly was sitting there. Once upon a time, she was just a host. Oh, now she's a supermodel in people's eyes, for crying out loud. We see all of these daggone photos of her everywhere and all of this other stuff. The bottom line is this: we modify as time goes on.
Smith appeared to be offering a heartfelt compliment, crediting Qerim for progressing from being seen as just another sports host to someone viewed as a genuine celebrity. While Smith delivered the praise, the camera stayed locked on him, but sharp-eyed viewers caught something unfolding in the background. There was Molly Qerim, and her reaction, though not the focal point of the shot, was captured perfectly. As Smith continued describing how fans now saw her as a supermodel, Qerim could be clearly seen mouthing 3 unmistakable words. What the F? She wasn't micced at that moment, so no audio came through, but the visual said everything. Her expression told a full story, eyebrows raised, a slight head tilt, and a mix of shock and disbelief. The clip exploded across social media, especially on X and Reddit, where fans analyzed every second. Some viewers found it hilarious and totally relatable, with one X user calling it the highlight of First Take that day. Outlets like the New York Post and Outkick covered it extensively, pointing out how these unscripted reactions reveal the human side of a highly produced live show. If seeing her mouth profanity caught your attention, wait until this next moment when she ditched the desk altogether. The spontaneous dance move traveled back to June 2019, when First Take was hitting its stride with Max Kellerman still on the panel beside Stephen A. Smith. On this particular morning, the discussion veered into pop culture territory, likely a viral dance celebration by an athlete or a social media dance trend that was blowing up. As the conversation unfolded, Qerim chose not to just talk about the moment from behind the desk. Instead, she stood up from her moderator's chair and broke into what could best be described as a shimmy with a twerk-style twist. It wasn't long, only a few seconds, but it completely shifted the vibe in the studio and caught everyone off guard.
Sweetness.
Is this good? Or do I get sweetness?
No, that's all. You ever seen a leopard walk in heels?
Haters. How's your haterade in those mugs?
The studio's immediate response was laughter and over-the-top reactions. Stephen A. Smith applauded enthusiastically, while Max Kellerman jumped in with a playful critique. But once the clip made its way online, opinions split fast. The moment was quickly shared across social platforms, racking up views at lightning speed. Some fans praised Qerim for her confidence and her ability to keep the show entertaining, dropping comments like, "Molly's got moves." Others criticized the moment as unprofessional for a morning sports debate show, questioning whether she forgot the cameras were still rolling. This moment underscored a larger truth about Qerim's role as a female host in a male-dominated sports media environment. She faces scrutiny over her appearance and behavior that her male colleagues rarely encounter. When Stephen A. Smith gets animated, it's celebrated as part of his trademark style. When Qerim dances for a few seconds during a lighthearted segment, it turns into a debate about professionalism. But spontaneous dancing wasn't the only time she pushed the boundaries. On live TV, the next moment involved a joke that left everyone wondering whether she'd crossed a line when a foot fetish joke went too far. Fast forward to August 15, 2024, and we land in another situation where First Take's attempt at playful banter slid into uncomfortable territory. The panel was discussing what seemed to be a pop culture story intersecting with sports, likely involving an NFL player's social media activity related to feet. This kind of subject requires careful handling on live morning television, especially on a major sports network built on a family-friendly image.
You know, he might have a foot fetish.
Yeah, he might have both.
Dan might be one of those. Dan might be one of those.
No, that's right. It's a nice black patent leather pump.
These are like the lazy heels.
Okay, would you give me my shoe back?
According to reports, Qerim made a comment questioning why athletes seem to have such unusual interest in feet, asking whether this was a thing now in the locker room. The line was clearly intended as light humor, but the reaction in the studio told a different story. Stephen A. Smith, caught completely off guard, widened his eyes and let out an exaggerated whoa. The other panelists either gave nervous laughs or stayed quiet, creating one of those brief, unmistakable pauses that happen on live TV when something doesn't land quite right. The camera caught Qerim's expression immediately afterward, shifting from playful amusement to slight regret. Social media jumped all over the moment, with users on X posting reactions ranging from "Molly keeping it real" to "Did she forget she's on ESPN?" Outlets like The Sun even covered the exchange, pointing out how Qerim's attempt to keep the show energetic backfired just enough to create an awkward moment because of the topic's sensitivity. The incident highlighted the challenge of balancing entertainment value with professionalism on live television. And while that joke had viewers buzzing, this next moment showed her doing the opposite, trying to protect a co-host from embarrassment in real time, desperately trying to hide a co-host's laptop screen. On April 8, 2024, Molly Qerim found herself quietly managing an on-air slip while Stephen A. Smith remained completely unaware. The show was deep into an intense debate when a slight camera angle shift revealed a problem. Stephen A. Smith's open laptop sitting on the desk with part of the screen visible. In the world of broadcast TV, an open laptop is a major issue. The screen could display anything: production notes, personal emails, unrelated tabs, and having that visible on live camera creates multiple risks. It distracts viewers, looks unprofessional, and could unintentionally reveal information that's not meant for the audience. Qerim immediately recognized that this was something that needed to be handled.
You gotta get. I can't, Molly. It's on vibrate. Just relax.
No, it's not that. You're just close it. Just trust me.
My phone?
Just close it all.
My phone?
Yeah, just put it all down.
That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Well, okay. Well, Stephen A., they're zooming in on it.
Okay, all right.
You can see your text messages, everything. I'm trying to help you out.
Text messages.
Stephen A., your computer. It's all on TV. Just close it. I'm looking out for you. Try to be smooth. Jeez.
What a Friday show, guys.
A nice peek behind the scenes. Back to the Suns conversation first.
What followed was a masterclass in trying to discreetly control a live TV mishap. According to viewers, Qerim leaned towards Smith and made subtle hand motions while quietly mouthing, "Close it or put it away." Her expression blended professionalism with urgency, trying to resolve the issue without disrupting the debate. But Smith, locked into his argument, either didn't notice or simply ignored her cues. The result was a quick flash of frustration across Qerim's face. Fans immediately picked up on it, turning the moment into yet another viral clip, with users on X posting comments like, "Molly's face said it all," and "Stephen A. just left her hanging." Media outlets such as Awful Announcing covered the exchange, highlighting Qerim's quick thinking and Smith's tunnel vision when he's in full rant mode now. If you thought she always stayed in her diplomatic moderator lane, this next moment proves she's not afraid to call out nonsense when she hears it, clapping back at Stephen A.'s exaggerations. March 20th, 2024 delivered one of those rare first take moments where Molly Qerim stepped out of her neutral role and directly challenged Stephen A. Smith with unusual sharpness. The episode focused on NCAA tournament storylines during March Madness, where every coaching decision becomes heavily scrutinized. Smith launched into one of his trademark rants, declaring a coach's choice the dumbest thing I've ever seen in basketball history. Anyone familiar with Smith knows, hyperbole is part of his brand. Everything is either the greatest ever or the worst imaginable, fueling debate and keeping viewers hooked.
No, that's not true. No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. It is not. Stephen A., we're going to a boxing gym. You know how you said it? I'm going to swear for the first time on TV, and I will bust your ass.
But on this particular day, Qerim wasn't letting it slide. Instead of her usual role of keeping the conversation moving, she cut in with pointed pushback. "Stephen, come on, you can't be serious with that. That's absurd, and you know it." Her tone was firm, almost confrontational, carrying a level of frustration that suggested this wasn't just about one basketball take, but about a pattern of exaggerations she'd had enough of. Her expression raised eyebrows. A slight headshake signaled genuine disbelief. The studio fell quiet for a moment. Smith looked stunned, clearly not expecting a direct challenge from the moderator. What made the moment stand out was that it broke the normal format. Qerim usually guides discussion rather than becomes part of the debate. This felt personal, like she briefly forgot her moderator role and responded as someone genuinely fed up. The clip spread quickly across X, with fans posting, "Molly just checked Stephen A." Outlets like Yahoo Sports picked it up, sparking speculation about tension between the co-hosts. Speaking of tense exchanges with Stephen A., the next situation flipped the script, and her reaction said, "Everything without a single word." Getting rudely cut off mid. February 12, 2024 brought Another example of the occasionally strained dynamic between Molly Qerim and Stephen A. Smith, when Smith abruptly cut her off mid-segment in a way that left her visibly stunned. The episode centered on NBA trade deadline fallout, one of the most chaotic and exciting periods in the league, filled with last-minute deals and non-stop rumors. The panel included Smith and analysts like J.J. Redick or Kendrick Perkins. Qerim was in the middle of introducing a segment, laying out context for a trade rumor involving a major player, carefully building toward her question. She was speaking clearly, setting the stage, when Smith suddenly interrupted mid-sentence with a loud attention-grabbing, "Hold on, Molly, I gotta say this," before jumping into a tangent about LeBron James' leadership that wasn't directly tied to what Qerim had been explaining.
This is so rude. I apologize. With the #1 bracket game, the men's game closes Thursday at noon Eastern, and the women's game Friday morning, 11:30. He's pacing because we have a bet. Whoever, loses first has to buy someone else, and he's just a little nervous about it. So I'm a little more up on college basketball than him, but it's cool.
Qerim's reaction was immediate and telling. Her eyes widened in shock. She leaned back slightly, a physical sign of being pushed aside. She folded her arms, a classic defensive posture signaling displeasure. Most notably, she appeared to mouth something viewers later speculated was either "Are you serious?" or "Wow." The camera lingered just long enough to capture her unfiltered exasperation. Social media instantly seized on the moment. Users on X commented, "Molly's face when Stephen A. cut her off was priceless, and she deserves better than that." The incident highlighted how Smith's larger-than-life personality can overshadow the moderator's role. Outlets like Bleacher Report noted that while Qerim handled it professionally, the moment reignited discussions about respect dynamics on the show, especially given her position as the lone female host. Navigating dominant male personalities, being interrupted was frustrating enough, but this next moment escalated things further when she became the target of criticism from not just one co-host but two. Called out on air over the Caitlin Clark controversy, September 10, 2024, produced one of the most uncomfortable moments in First Take history when Molly Qerim found herself on the receiving end of coordinated criticism from both Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe. The episode focused on the ongoing debates surrounding WNBA star Caitlin Clark and the media attention she was receiving. The topic had been heated for weeks, with Smith and Sharpe taking criticism for their outspoken support of Clark, while others argued that established WNBA players deserved more spotlight. The panel was discussing how the narrative around Clark had evolved, and how critics who pushed back on the early hype were now silent as her rookie season turned out to be exceptional. Tension had already been building as Smith defended his stance on Clark's inclusion on Team USA and her massive marketability. Qerim, as moderator, had been guiding the discussion when Smith suddenly redirected the focus onto her. The implication was unmistakable. He believed Qerim herself had not fully supported the Clark narrative he and Sharpe had championed. Smith's tone carried clear frustration as he criticized the show's response to the backlash they faced, making it obvious he felt Qerim hadn't been in their corner. His repeated use of her name, Molly, followed by a pointed "wow," carried weight. Smith wasn't making a general statement about producers or the network. He was calling out Qerim directly for what he saw as her lack of support when he and Sharpe were under fire. His line, "They jumped on us as a show," stressed that the backlash affected everyone. But his direct address suggested he felt Qerim should have defended them more clearly or aligned with their stance earlier. What made it particularly uncomfortable was that the criticism unfolded live on air. Instead of addressing the issue off camera or during a break, Smith aired his grievances publicly, forcing Qerim to respond in real time while maintaining her composure as moderator. Sharpe's agreement created a 2-against-1 moment that visibly unsettled Qerim. Her body language showed someone struggling to remain professionally composed while being publicly criticized by her co-hosts for not being supportive enough during a controversial storyline. You'd think after that public call-out things might settle down, but the scrutiny she faces extends, even to the smallest parts of her day, targeted for eating on set during a long show. June 25, 2024 brought another instance of Molly Qerim receiving what fans described as unusually pointed comments from her co-hosts during an otherwise ordinary sports discussion. The episode moved through several topics with standard First Take energy, and somewhere in the flow, the conversation unexpectedly shifted toward Qerim's personal habits. The panel included Stephen A. Smith and other regular contributors, and the tone had been light up to that point. What began as potentially harmless teasing quickly turned into something that felt more personal. The host started commenting on Qerim's snacking on set, what she was eating, how much she was eating, remarks that, while seemingly trivial, carried an undertone that made many viewers uncomfortable. The focus on her eating habits highlighted the kind of scrutiny female hosts in sports media often endure: scrutiny about their bodies, appearance, and behavior that male hosts almost never face.